The Tuesday, February 9, 2021 Urbandale City Council meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. And Nicole, I'll ask you to take roll call, please.
Carberry Montgomery. Caduce.
Here.
Obrecht. Hoagie.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
Excellent, thank you.
If you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Urbandale is a national leader in character counts, endeavoring at all times to promote and model the principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. In conducting tonight's meeting, we expect that all participants will act in a respectful manner consistent with these principles. Item 2 is to approve the agenda. Do I ask for a motion and a second, please?
The motion by Obrecht, second by Carberry Montgomery.
Okay, discussion, please vote. Okay, thank you. That passes. Item 3 is citizens forum. This is the opportunity to address the council on something that's not a part of tonight's regular agenda. Nicole, I say you do not have anybody pre-registered, so if anybody would like to address the council on something that's not a part of tonight's agenda tonight, if you could please unmute yourself.
I will note for our call-in users, if you will dial *6, that is how you unmute if you'd like to speak at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hearing none, then we will move on. Item 4 is the adoption of the minutes, first from the January 23, 2021 meeting.
The motion by Obrecht. Second by Pogge.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes. And secondly, from the January 25 work session.
The motion by Caduce. Second by Pogge.
Okay, discussion, please vote. Okay, that passes. And then finally, from the January 26 City Council meeting.
The motion by Obrecht. Second by Pogge.
Okay, discussion, please vote. And that passes. Thank you. Item 5 is the consent agenda. There are 7 items for approval.
The motion by Pogge. Second by Caduce.
Okay, discussion, please vote. All right, that passes. Brings us to item 6, public hearings. We have 5 public hearings, I believe, tonight. And so the first public hearing is item 6.1, a public hearing to consider the storm sewer and surface water flowage easement and surface water flowage easement vacations for lot 38 Allerton Park at 10437 Sutton Drive. The public notice for this was published in the January 29, 2021 Des Moines Register, and ask for any objections to that notice is published.
There were none.
Ask for a motion and a second to open the public hearing.
The motion by Obrecht, second by Pogge.
Okay, discussion, please vote. Okay, that passes. Then introducing this is our Community Development Director, Steve Franklin. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, all. Would just clarify, there's a typo there, Mayor, in the agenda item title. The address is actually 14503 Holcomb Avenue. It is correct in the resolution and the ordinance, but not correct in the council letter in the agenda. So it's 14503
Okay.
Holcomb. And I
Right.
will share a screen for you here and show you a little bit more detail about what we're talking about. This is in the Allerton Park residential area, which is in Dallas County, west of 142nd Street. So you can see on the map here, here's 142nd Street. This is Holcomb Avenue. And this is the lot on the north side of Holcomb. There's a drainage way that runs through the rear of all of these lots. It's a rather large, wide storm sewer and surface water drainage area because that drainage way runs through. The request here specifically to go to this enlargement detail here is to vacate only 8 feet of this easement such that they could be able to get a deck to be able to encroach into the area where the easement would have been. We do not allow any kind of structures to encroach in easements. So the proposal is to vacate 8 feet of this large area that includes this easement so that that deck does not encroach. The red line you'll note here is the 100-year flood of a detention area that is back behind. So you'll note they're still going to be separated even with the vacation with about 8 feet horizontally from that 100-year flood, but more importantly, 4 to 5 feet of vertical elevation from the 100-year flood. So city's engineering staff has reviewed the request and does not have any concerns. So staff would recommend approval of both the resolution and the ordinance to vacate this portion of the easement. Would be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thanks, Steve. Any questions for Steve on this item from the council? Okay, hearing none, then we are in public hearing on this item. I ask that anybody would like to address the council on this item, if you could please unmute yourself. And again, if you're on the phone, as Nicole mentioned, do *6 from your phone if you'd like to be recognized. Okay, hearing none, then I will ask for a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
A motion by Pogge. Second by Russell to close the public hearing.
Okay, discussion, please vote. Okay, that passes. Then we have 2 items for consideration.
A motion by Pogge, second by Caduce to approve Resolution 21, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
Nicole, you get to move me over. I was slow fingered.
So updated.
Okay, that passes.
I have a motion by Pogge, second by Russell to approve the first reading of ordinance 2021-05.
Okay,
Nicole,
discussion.
make me an aye.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion, then please vote. Okay, thank you, that passes. All right, moving on then to item 6.2, the public hearing and consideration of bids for the 2021 PCC Patch Program Phase 1. And the public notice for this was published in the January 22, 2021 Des Moines Register. And ask any objections to that notice is published.
There were none.
I ask for a motion and a second to open this public hearing.
The motion by Caduce, second by Russell to open the public hearing.
Okay, discussion, please vote. Okay, that passes. Then introducing this is our city engineer, John Larson. John?
Yep. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'll need to share my screen here, Nicole. Okay. All right, everybody see the screen all right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is our bid tabulation for the PCC patch program phase 1. On February 3rd, we received 7 bids on the project. Low bid was from Shakar Engineering out of Des Moines, Iowa. Their bid was in the amount of $1,130,339.92. That bid was approximately $91,000 or 7.5% under the engineer's estimate of $1.22 million. With this project, we'll be patching 16,000 square yards at 309 locations, and it's anticipated all the work would be completed by September 24th. And here's just a figure to show where the patches are. Up here is Douglas Parkway. Here's 156th Street. All the red boxes that you see, those are the proposed patches for this year. This is how we track them on our website so people can see our progress as these patches get completed. And they'll turn from red to green so that people know that they're done. I guess with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, John. Any questions for John? All right. Again, this is a public hearing, and if anyone would like to address this, I would ask you to unmute yourself, please. I'll recognize you. Okay, hearing none, then I'll ask for a motion in a second to close the public hearing.
A motion by Russell, second by Caduce to close the public hearing.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes, and we have 3 items for consideration.
A motion by Russell, second by Caduce to approve Resolution 36-2021.
36 or 35?
Oh, I apologize, 35, yes.
Okay. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
I have a motion by Caduce, second by Obrecht to approve Resolution 36-2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
I have a motion by Obrecht, second by Caduce to approve Resolution 37-2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. All right, that passes. Thank you. Moving on to item 6.3 is a public hearing consideration bids for the 2021 PCC patch program phase 2. And public notice for this was also published in the January 22, 2021 Des Moines Register. And answer any objections to that notice as published.
There were none.
Ask for a motion and a second to open the public hearing, please.
A motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by Russell.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
Councilmember Carberry, oh, never mind, there it comes through, just a little bit behind.
All
There we
right.
go.
There we go, that passes. John, back to you.
Okay. I can share my screen here. There we go. Okay, this is our bid tabulation for the phase 2 of our PCC patch program. On February 3rd, we received 9 bids for this project. The low bid was from Gary Hill, doing business as Hill Contracting from Leon, Iowa. His bid was in the amount of $512,635.50. This bid was approximately $42,000 or 7.7% less than our engineer's estimate of $555,000. With this project, we'll be patching 7,500 square yards of patching and at 104 locations. We're anticipating this work will be completed by September 24th. And just kind of show you where we're at. Here's 73rd Street, Hickman Road on the bottom, and 70th Street on the right. So the ice arena is right here. So we'll be working on the frontage road, Holcomb, 72nd Street, and 70th Street, and then the couple cul-de-sacs there. I guess with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, John. Any questions for John on this item for the council? All right, then I'll ask if there's anyone who'd like to address the council on this item. Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
A motion by Russell, second by Obrecht.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes. Then we have 3 resolutions for consideration here.
A motion by Russell, second by Obrecht.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Russell, second by Obrecht to approve Resolution 39, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Russell, second by Obrecht to approve Resolution 40, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. And that passes. All right, thank you. Moving on then, item 6.4 is the public hearing and consideration of bids for the 2021 storm sewer intake program. The public notice for this was published in January 22, 2021, Des Moines Register, and asked if there are objections to that notice as published.
There were none.
Ask for a motion and a second to open the public hearing.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Pogge.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes. John?
Okay. Okay, this is our bid tabulation for our storm sewer intake program. On February 3rd, we received 9 bids for the project. The low bid was from TK Concrete from Pella, Iowa. Their bid was in the amount of $260,495. That bid was approximately $19,000 or 6.9% less than our engineer's estimate of just under $280,000. And with this project, we'll be replacing 35 intakes and just over 1,000 square yards of patching. We're anticipating that all this work would be completed by October 1st. And then here showing the red dots are the locations. Most of those are east of the interstate and between Meredith Drive and Hickman Road. We do have one lone one out on Douglas Parkway west of the roundabout. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, John. Any questions for John from the council on this item? All right, then I'll open it up for the public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council on this item? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
A motion by Obrecht. Second by Poggi.
Discussion, please vote. That passes. We have 3 items for consideration here.
A motion by Obrecht. Second by Caduce to approve Resolution 45, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Obrecht. Second by Caduce to approve Resolution 46, 2021.
Okay. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Obrecht. Second by Caduce to approve Resolution 47, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. All right, that passes. Moving on to item 6.5 is the public hearing consideration of bids for the Wofford Road paving project from 156th Street to 142nd Street. And the public notice for this was also published in the January 2021 Des Moines Register. Ask if there are objections to that. Notice is published.
There were none.
Ask for a motion and a second to open the public hearing.
A motion by Caduce, second by Obrecht.
Okay, discussion, please vote. And that passes. All right, John.
Okay. All right, this is our bid tabulation for the Waterford Road paving project. Also on February 3rd, we received 5 bids for the project. The low bid was from Concrete Technologies from Grimes, Iowa. And we're recommending that we accept the low bid from Concrete Technologies in the amount of $4,489,490.25, which also includes alternate number 1. This bid was $1.2 million or 21.3% below the engineer's estimate of $5.7 million. And those savings can primarily be attributed to the cost for the grading, storm sewer, and paving. We anticipate all this work being completed by November 19th of this year. Just to kind of show the location, here's Waterford Road, 142nd Street on the east, 156th Street on the west. A little bit about the project. We'll have a 65-foot wide cross section, which we made up of two 25-foot wide paving sections and a 15-foot wide median. We'll use our standard 8 1/4 inch reinforced concrete pavement. And this will be our first project with the complete streets cross section. We'll have the 10-foot asphalt separated bike lane on the north side. That'll be adjacent to a 5-foot sidewalk. And then we'll have just a 5-foot concrete sidewalk on the south side. Just to show the cross section again. So here's our 65-foot wide paving section. On the left here is the 15-foot separated bike lane that'll be on the north side. And then we'll have a 5-foot concrete sidewalk on the south side. Just kind of go into the project and the staging a little bit. The purple lines you can see on the north here, that's a separated bike lane on the north. And on the south side here is our 5-foot sidewalk. And then the red lines show you the curb lines. You can see the edge of the pavement and also the medians or the left turn lanes. So this area that's on here is our stage 1. So we'll be constructing from 156th Street over to just shy of 151st Street. So anybody that's in this area would be able to work their way over to 151st Street and then go east to 142nd Street if you're on the north side of the road. The south side of the road, they'll be able to go west over to 156th Street. So our stage 2 will go from 151st Street over to just shy of 147th Street. So again, while this area is closed, anybody that's to the west will be able to go out to 156th Street. Anybody on the east would be able to go over to 142nd Street. And then the people on the south, they'll ultimately be able to go south and go back over to 142nd Street. Then our third and final phase, we'll go from 147th Street to 142nd Street. And at that time, all the traffic would go west to 156th Street. Just a little bit about our assessment again. So we had 146 properties being assessed. So 105 of those at least were prepaid at the time of the final plat, and then 35 of those properties bonded at the time of the final plat. We do have 4 properties with a petition and waiver, which leaves us only 2 properties that have a new pavement assessment. One of the properties has been rezoned to a PUD. Then the other property would qualify for an acreage assessment reduction. As far as the sidewalk goes, we do have 51 properties being assessed. 45 of those were prepaid with the final plat. 4 have the petition and waiver, and then we've got the 2 with the new assessment. When we do our assessments, we do that based on 31-foot wide pavement section. The good thing for the people being assessed is our preliminary assessment used $60 a square yard. We got good bids as far as our paving. They came at $44.75 a square yard, or a 25% reduction. On the sidewalk, though, we'd estimated those at $36 a square yard. Our bids came in at $35.50, so not much of a reduction on the sidewalk, and we do not have any deficiencies with the project. Just kind of summarize the assessable costs. For the pavement and sidewalks, our preliminary estimate was right around $1.77 million. Now we're down to about $1.4 million. And then the city's cost went from roughly $4.6 million down to about $3.9 million. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Great. Thank you, John. Any questions from the council for John on this item? Okay, hearing none, then I'll open it up for the public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council on this item? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
The motion by Obrecht, second by Pogge.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
Nicole, I was too late on the draw to second. Can you move me over to yes? Thank you.
All right, that passes. Then we have 4 resolutions for approval.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Pogge to approve Resolution 31, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
Just voted again. Can you move me to yes? Thank
So
you.
updated. Yes, thank you.
That passes.
A motion by Obra, second by Pogi to approve Resolution 32, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Obra, second by Pogi to approve Resolution 33, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. Okay, that passes. Thank you.
And a motion by Caduce, second by Pogi to approve Resolution 34, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
So,
Councilmember Pogi, your vote hasn't come through. There it comes. Excellent, thank you.
All right, and that passes. Thank you. That concludes our public hearings. So we'll move on to item 7 to establish public hearings. First is item 7.1 is to establish a public hearing for the proposed property tax levy for February 23, 2021. And our Finance Director, Nikki Lamb, would answer any questions if there are. I'll ask for a motion in a second.
A motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by Caduce to approve Resolution 22, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
My turn to have you move me over, please.
So updated.
Okay, that passes. Thank you. Item 7.2 is establish public hearing for the general obligation bond series 2021. And again, Nikki would answer any questions if there are, but there are 3 motions for consideration here.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Pogi to approve Resolution 24, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Caduce to approve Resolution 25, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. And that passes. All right, thank you. Item 7.3 is to establish a public hearing for the proposal to convey the real property to the Iowa Department of Transportation. John, answer any questions if there are.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor, we do have one final resolution on establishing the public hearings for the GO bonds.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. As for motion and a second on that.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Pogi to approve Resolution 42, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
I think we're all guilty tonight of the fast fingers. I thought better than everybody else. Can you move me, Nicole, please? Oh, thank you.
So updated.
All right, that's passed. Thank you. Now it's item 7.3 to establish a public hearing for the proposal to convey the real property to the Iowa DOT.
Have a motion by Obrecht, second by Pogi to approve Resolution 44, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 7.4 is to establish a public hearing for the police station drainage improvements. John, did you have something you want to present on this?
overview of the project.
Okay.
As I can share here. Okay, so back in June of 2018, we had the major rain event, and we actually had some flooding at the police station. So at that time, we hired Shive Hattery to do a study to kind of look at what happened, come up with some recommendations, and look at what improvements we could do to mitigate any potential flooding in the future. So just kind of wanted to show what they've come up with. Through the study, as we look at the police station here, there was an issue with water kind of coming down the driveway, continuing into the parking lot and going to a single intake. So what we're proposing is we'll modify the pavement here so we can have some of the water come off before it gets to the police station. We'll also have some of the water come down, change up the pavement here, add an intake, which will allow some more water to be stopped before or captured before it gets in the parking lot. And then we're going to add a larger intake in the parking lot. I zoom in a little bit. You can see where I was talking an intake on the driveway. We're also going to look to construct some new storm sewer that comes to the south and then goes west over into the detention area. From that, we have a way to connect some of the other storm sewer in the area into that new pipe, so there'll be some redundant pipes and additional capacity, and we'll also increase the intake size that's currently in the south parking lot. So for right now, we're just kind of looking to establish the public hearing and get authorization to go out to bid. And I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, John. Any questions for John on this? If not, then I'll ask for a motion in a second.
A motion by Russell, second by Obrecht.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
Nicole, would you move me over to an aye, please?
So updated.
Thank you.
Okay, that passes. Item 7.5 is establish a public hearing for the Walnut Creek Regional Park East Shelter. John, answer any questions if there are.
A motion by Caduce. A second by Poggi.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 7.62 is establish a public hearing for the Fire Station 43 masonry repairs. John?
Yep, just give a quick overview. I know the council's aware that we've had some issues at the fire station. It was back in July of 2020 that we conducted some destructive testing. What that testing showed us that there was mortar issues related to the brickwork that basically would not allow for proper airflow, or it actually was causing potential for there to be water damage. So this project would move the bricks along the bottom of the building and the bricks that are above the windows and the doors, and then reinstall them correctly. Our plan is the cost for this work would be deducted from the Fire Station 43 contract. And again, tonight, we're just looking to set the public hearing and receive authorization to go out to bid. And with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right, John, thank you. Any questions for John on this item?
Just a quick question of, with receiving bids, those that caused the issue can't bid on it, I'm guessing?
Discuss that with the city attorney. They could bid, but that's when we'd have the option to go and say they're not a responsible bidder and would not have to award to them.
Okay, thanks.
All right. That's for a motion in a second.
A motion by Caduce,
You over,
second by Obrecht.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
Thank you.
All right, that passes. Item 7.7 is to establish the public hearing and preliminary assessment for 128th Street sidewalk from Airline to Meredith. John.
All right, if I can share screen here, Nicole.
Just a moment.
Okay, this is for setting the preliminary assessment for the 128th Street sidewalk project. Basically, this project is to complete sidewalks along 128th Street from Douglas Parkway north to Meredith Drive. On the figure here, just some points of reference. There's Aurora Avenue, 128th Street through the middle. On the right-hand side is Meredith Drive, so we've got north to the right. And this area right here is Webster Elementary School. So a little background. There's a new house being constructed just off the sheet to the left here. And a condition of their rezoning is they were going to construct the sidewalk on the west side of 128th Street from Douglas Parkway north to where we start our project. And then we were going to pick it up from there and finish the last quarter mile up to Aurora Avenue. And that would complete the sidewalk on the west side of 128th Street. Currently, on the east side from Douglas Parkway up to almost Meredith Drive, we've got the sidewalk completed. We're just missing this last quarter mile. So this project would complete the sidewalk on the east side of 128th Street. Then we also have some sidewalk by the roundabout. With the development that's going to occur in the southwest quadrant here, we currently have sidewalk that brings it across to their site. They'll pick that up, bring it to the roundabout, and then continue it along 142nd Street to the south end of their development. There's an area that's owned by the city as park ground, so we'll fill in that gap, and then we already have the sidewalk on the bridge and continuing to the south. So this is just to fill in a gap within the city park ground. With this project, we have 4 properties that are being assessed. As I said, one's owned by the city. We'll be assessing 5 foot of sidewalk. Our preliminary estimate's using $55 a square yard, and we have no deficiencies on the project. Looking at the costs for the sidewalk, the assessable costs are estimated at $107,647.99. The city's cost is estimated at $8,846.69. And with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right, thanks, John. Any questions for John on this?
With the widths in that area, there seems to be a decent amount of bike traffic. So 5 foot versus wider sidewalks. Help me understand there.
Sure. I don't know if I've got a good screen to show back on 128th Street. There's a future plan for a trail that would come up on this side, or kind of mid-mile. So that's why the sidewalks were not done at the standard 10 foot along an arterial, just because we would have a trail adjacent. And as currently there is the trail that does come on the west side of Webster Elementary that comes up and through this neighborhood.
Okay.
So one of those parcels is owned by the school district. Do they get assessed just the same as residential owned subdivisions or property?
This one's a little different. Is the school has bought that under contract, so actually the title holder will still be assessed, and then whatever agreement they have on payment. My guess is all 3 of these properties on 128th Street will claim ag deferment.
Got it. Thanks, John.
Yep.
All right. Any further questions? Now we have 4 resolutions.
A motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by Russell, to approve Resolution 27, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
Move me over, please. Thank you.
That That passes.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Caduce to approve Resolution 28, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
Motion by Obrecht, second by Caduce to approve Resolution 29, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Carberry Montgomery to approve Resolution 30, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. And that passes. All right, thank you. Moving on to item 8, regular agenda items is item 8.1, is to consider ordinance 2021-04, amending the post-construction stormwater management ordinance. John?
As soon as I can share here. Okay, so it was back in July of 2020 at the Lunch and Learn when we first discussed our proposed revisions to the post-construction stormwater requirements. Tonight I just kind of want to summarize those proposed changes that we've done to the ordinance. Basically, the ordinance outlines when stormwater management is required. Typically, it will require it if an NPDES general permit number 2 is required for the site. That basically means that they are disturbing more than 1 acre of the site, or if it requires a final plat or a site plan, or if it happens to be new construction that requires a building permit. And at the end, I'll kind of hit there are some exceptions where we would not require a stormwater management plan. One thing to note, though, basically, any site that has an existing stormwater management plan, they'll have to at least meet that as a minimum. But if they hit certain other criteria, then we'll be implementing our new standards. And to let you know, all the city projects, if they're buildings, things like that, would be required to meet these requirements. It would not apply to roadways or trails, our linear type projects, and that's consistent with all but one community within the Capital Crossroads group that was looking at this.
Here,
Yeah.
how long do they have to bring it into compliance? Your bullet point number 2.
Basically, that is, if they come in with a site plan that doesn't meet our other criteria that sends them to that next level, by the time they're done doing their improvements before they can get their final approval of their site plan for after they've constructed their CO, they would have to be in compliance with their detention.
But if they're doing nothing to improve the lot, then there would be no requirement to bring it up to the new standard?
Correct. Yep. If you're not changing your site, then you can just leave it as is.
Okay.
It's the new development or redevelopment that triggers when the new improvements are required.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification.
Yep. So when we look at new development, our threshold is 10,000 square feet. That's what triggers the requirement. So if they are under 10,000 square foot, they would not have to do detention. thing is, though, almost all sites we see by the time you do a building and a parking lot is going to trigger that 10,000 square foot threshold. And that's also a cumulative number. So you can't really break up your project into phases to avoid this. Once you go over the 10,000 square feet, then you'd have to bring the site into full compliance. And then we were looking at redevelopment. So there's kind of different steps within the redevelopment on what's required of the site. Again, if they add 10,000 square feet of impervious surface area, but they disturb less than 50% of their site, that's when we go to our Iowa Stormwater Management Manual, and they need to meet the water quality standard and the channel protection standard. The water quality standard basically has them contain the runoff from the first 1.25 inches of the rainfall event. And what that does is it helps reduce your pollutants, and that would cover about 90% of the storms in central Iowa. And then the channel protection basically helps reduce erosion from these smaller storms. So what happens is the detention will hold the water longer, which will be a little different what we're doing now. So I think as it gets implemented, people will start to notice the detention areas do hold the water a lot longer than what they see now. But what that'll help do, again, is help with the erosion downstream, and that'll be covered with about 98% of our rain events in central Iowa. And then another threshold is if they're redeveloping is greater than 1 acre, but still disturbing less than 50% of their property, they would still need to meet the water quality and channel protection requirements, but they would also need to meet the overbank protection and extreme flooding protection. And the overbank protection basically just helps reduce the chances of flash flooding. And then the extreme flooding protection is just that. In the very large rain events, it'll reduce the amount of flooding downstream. And then if they're redeveloping and they disturb 50% or more of their site, then it gets treated as a new development and they'd have to come into full compliance with our requirements. And then since we'd always talked, this would be kind of a cumulative thing, that we were going to have it start from January 1st of 2021 on working towards that 10,000 square foot threshold. Yeah, I guess skip that one. And then just wanted to hit into the exceptions a little bit. For instance, if somebody is doing repairs on their parking lot and not expanding their parking lot, this would not trigger them to need to come into full compliance. Like with all of the NPDES stuff, logging and agricultural activities are excluded. And it also excludes modifications to single family structures. So for instance, if somebody wanted to put on a larger deck, that wouldn't trigger where they would have to, have detention in their site or try to bring their entire subdivision into compliance. But if somebody wants to go in and like repair their detention pond or make some modifications that the city would like to see, that does not require them to come into full compliance. They would still just need to match their original design. And I know there's a lot of different options and information there, but I'd be glad to try to answer any questions.
And John, this is being adopted by other communities in the metro so that we maintain a level playing field?
Correct. So far, Waukees adopted, they're very similar to us. Windsor Heights and Clive have adopted theirs. They're a little more restrictive than us. I think a lot of that is Windsor Heights being fully developed, and they're trying to, get some detention with any kind of redevelopment. Whereas like Polk County and Johnston, they're in the process of adopting, and they'll be very similar to us. West Des Moines also is in the process of adopting. They're maybe a little bit more restrictive than us, but similar to us.
And then John, on this too, the way that implement doesn't always have to be more concrete or rock. It can be softscapes or water absorbing item, soil types and things that way. So it's not all just more concrete or pouring or more tubes.
Correct. Yep, that's part of that design manual, lays out a lot of different options they can choose from.
Any further questions for John? Not, then we have a few items for consideration.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Poggi to approve the first reading of ordinance 2021-04.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Russell to approve the adoption of the SUDAS.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Russell to approve the adoption of the Iowa Stormwater Management Manual.
Okay, discussion, please vote.
Councilmember Carberry Montgomery, I don't think yours registered. Sorry about that. Oh, there we go. Excellent.
All right, thank you, that passes.
A motion by Obrecht, second by Poggi to approve the adoption of the City of Urbandale design criteria.
All right, discussion, please vote. All right, thank you, that passes. And again, a lot of work's gone into this. We've been talking about this for a long time, and a lot of talk in the Metro about this, so I want to thank our staff, particularly Kristen Brostrom too, who's been working on the Metro standpoint of this too. She's spent a lot of time on that. So Kristen, John, thank you for all your work on this and getting us to where we are on this. Appreciate that. All right, moving on then to item 8.2 is the citywide mowing and trimming services. And our Parks and Rec Director, Jan Herkey, would answer any questions if there are. Jan, did you have anything you wanted to present?
Nope, happy to answer any questions.
Question is, what does that break down per acre?
We have the per acre is $28 per acre. We have a total of 337 acres, but $28 per acre for the ground mowing, and I believe it was $32 for the right-of-way mowing.
Yeah, I always find that a bargain. You know, the mow an acre of ground for $28. It's a bargain.
Yep, this is the same vendor we've had for 12 years, so it's been a good relationship.
And Jan, I guess another question is, you mentioned the number of acres we mow. How often do we look to make sure we're not mowing, or we're mowing stuff we shouldn't be mowing? That's no way to put it. So,
each year our staff works with the engineering department and the cartograph mapping and so forth. So they evaluate all the mowing. We do add acreage each year, and some right of ways. So as we add parkland, so that is evaluated pretty consistently.
I have a motion by Russell, second by Caduce to approve Resolution 18, 2021.
Okay, discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 8.3 is the Iowa Reinvestment Act pre-application for the Merle Hay Reinvestment District by the 28E Joint Board between Des Moines and Urbandale. And introducing this is our Assistant Economic Development Director, Aaron DeYoung. Aaron?
Aaron DeYoung with the Economic Development Department. Happy to present to you the main details of our application to the Iowa Economic Development Authority in partnership with Des Moines for the Merle Hay Mall reinvestment. This is going to be a joint application with Des Moines through our recently approved 28E board. Applications for the Iowa Reinvestment Act are due in February, in a couple weeks, here the 22nd through the 25th. And that program is eligibility is to get rebates from the increased sales taxes and lodging taxes from projects that are within that district if they're approved. This is part of our 28E agreement in that each council gets to review the application prior to the 28E board doing that. So we'll be seeking your approval here on that tonight. The main request is to get a $30 million allocation from the state of Iowa for those rebates to help support the construction of Buccaneer Arena and Training Center that's on the Urbandale side of the Merle Hay Mall campus. This is an overview of the 75-acre district that we are going to be proposing. You can see the black dotted line there is the city boundary between Urbandale and Des Moines. I should note it's been a pleasure working with our colleagues in Des Moines, as well as the Buccaneers and Liz Holland with Able and Associates that owns several of the mall properties throughout this process. The main projects that are within this application, first and foremost, is Buccaneer Arena and the Training Center. That's going to include a 3,500-seat multi-use arena within the existing four walls of the Yonkers building. They will be, I call it popping the top, so that there's extra volume for the arena within that facility. Also within the Yonkers will be in the first training sheet of ice, which will be the dedicated practice area for the Buccaneers. Then moving further north into the training center parts will be a revamp of the food court, as well as within the current Kohl's property building, will be 2 additional sheets of ice for 4 sheets total. That's a lot of sheets of ice. We know that this is to be a Midwestern, if not national, destination for hockey and other ice sports here in the country. And then north of the current Kohl's building will be is proposed a 150-room hotel that will be leveraging all the activity that's happening at the mall, as well as at the training center and arena. New retail buildings are being proposed and approved right now in Des Moines. On that side, I've got a map here in the next slide to show that. As well as the housing projects we'll be highlighting in the application, Lillis Lofts, as well as the proposal to have Merle Hay Tower, which is in the mall, the main mall property, to be converted into senior housing. Also, many mall tenant improvements. With all this new activity, we are expecting additional tenants and additional sales of those tenants at the mall. And then a lot of improvements outside the mall buildings with ring road improvements, parking lot improvements, storm detention improvements, pedestrian improvements, just to name a few. So here is a current draft of the master plan that the City of Des Moines is working with Able and Associates, Merle Hay Mall ownership on this. So you can see that a lot of the property is going to be touched and evaluated for pedestrian and vehicle connections, landscaping, parking lot improvements, storm detention, new entranceways. So a lot of thought has currently gone into this. I should note, so the retail buildings that I mentioned earlier are mostly in the northern part, the current Sears building area, which is the fences are up and the wrecking ball is coming any day now for that building to come down and then be replaced with, first and foremost, a new Kohl's building for them to relocate, and then plans for an additional 80,000 square feet of retail north of that. Here's another picture kind of highlighting a lot of the projects that aren't quite the main projects. We've got the arena and the training center, we've got the hotel and the Lillis Lofts in there. Currently planned is a outdoor plaza on the southern Douglas Avenue entrance to create a new focal point for the property. And then looking at the Des Moines projects, we mentioned the Coles, the new businesses north of that, a planned outdoor area to create green space in the play area for the Drake Head Start program, which is a current tenant in the property. The senior housing is this purple spot with the 6-story Merle Hay Tower. New retail throughout, that's the blue areas. Improvements to the mall corridors, that's the green. And then there are some, they will be reconfiguring the entrance road at Madison Avenue on Merle Hay to straighten that up, and will, the benefit of that will be to create a new out parcel for a very auto primary retailer. You know, probably a quick serve restaurant would be my guess as to what would happen there. So with all of that, the planned improvements or investment in the 75 acres is almost $130 million. Certainly nothing to sneeze at. So the request with the state, again, is a $30 million allocation from the Reinvestment Act. The plan is to utilize those future rebates to support the construction of the arena and the training center. And that's going to be from the increased lodging taxes and sales taxes. We've got a 20-year period, if we're approved, to be able to generate those rebates. So the envisioned Urbandale assistance throughout this, and mostly the financial stuff, is to take those $30 million of future allocations and bring them to a present value through the sale of a bond, utilizing those increased future revenues for that. We're estimating in the current bond environment that could generate between $23 and $24 million of funding for construction. And so that's what's in the application on the funding sources side of that. Also, we're anticipating a TIF rebate schedule with the arena and the hotel, which will be owned by Orchard View Sports Entertainment. That's the owner of the Buccaneers. We've got that estimated at $3 million that those improvements can generate. All of these and probably a few other will be incorporated into a future development agreement once the Iowa Reinvestment Act, if we got that, because we're anticipating that development agreement to lay out the terms and conditions of accessing those bond funds. So we want to know that we've got that coming before we really get into finalizing a development agreement. So with that ends my presentation. Curtis Brown is also on the line if he wants to add anything as well, because we're the tag team on the Urbandale side for this project. So happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Aaron. Any questions from the council for Aaron?
Aaron, this is Ron. I have a question. I saw the Register carried an article this morning, and I didn't get to read it in full, but how competitive is it going to be to get the Reinvestment Act grant approved? And, what criteria is the state going to use? And can they partially approve it? Can they give us, 15 million instead of 30 million?
Great question, Councilmember. Yeah, it will be a competitive process. There's several local projects, as you noted in the Register article, as well as several projects that we know of across the state. There's a review criteria that factors in the leverage of the project, the amount of investment, the amount of revenue generation that it can bring, the uniqueness of it. The state wants to invest in projects that create a state and or beyond state draw for that. Hence my comments about being a national venue for hockey. That's part of the sales pitch there for this project. So we're evaluating all of those criteria to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward with those, so that it is competitive. We think it is, but we don't have the heavy task of allocating the $100 million that's been allocated to the program for this round. So we're hopeful that we'll get an allocation. You also asked if they could figure out different amounts. The state board can do whatever they want. So that you can ask for it, but you may not get it all. So that certainly could be a potential.
Thank you.
I've got a couple of questions for you. This is just an amazing amount of work that you've put into this, Aaron, and I know it's not just you, but I really appreciate the full effort that's gone into this and the cooperation with the city of Des Moines. So I was going to ask pretty much a similar question as Ron, but do you think, and I have some other questions too, but do you think that because ours is a cooperative agreement that will be in our benefit?
It's certainly one of the topics in our uniqueness category, in that
Okay.
we're sharing the load and getting a great project within 2 municipalities done. So we think we'll get some bonus points for that through that uniqueness quality.
Okay, I think so, but I hope that is received well. My other question is, in all the meetings we've had about this, I don't think I've heard anything said about this. Did you say there's a Drake Head Start program in the mall?
Yes, it's in the north, the north-south corridor at the very far north. So, right next to the main entrance to the Sears building.
Okay,
They're
and
on the west side.
will that continue?
Yes, yeah, there are improvements to do the northern outdoor plaza so that the softscape area for the kiddos is
So they'll be
right
like-
outside the space.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Another very unique addition to our project. And my last question right now is related to the conversion of the tower to senior housing. In the last couple of weeks, the governor came out with a commitment to affordable housing through state and federal tax credits. Will this be a tax credit project? Are we not that far down the line? I'd love to have a conversation beyond just this project related to those tax credit projects in Urbandale, but do you know if this is something that we could make work in that program?
Certainly, the building is currently owned by Liz Holland with Able and Associates, and so she is marketing it as senior or senior affordable with that. The property is, or that building is in the city of Des Moines, so we wouldn't be involved on the Urbandale side on its redevelopment, and if there's programs need to be accessed through the community to get that. But we think it's a good player for that. Certainly, the senior affordable or senior market rate or senior workforce, if that wouldn't work because they're mostly retired. But that it would be a great project. It's an older building though. There are some challenges in trying to retrofit that because the ceiling heights aren't to today's standards.
Right.
So it might be a challenge in that regard, but not insurmountable.
Well, I think that it's close enough to Urbandale that I would be happy, if we were to be successful claiming it as, Urbandale adjacent senior housing.
Right.
So,
it's within the 28E, so we can get some share. We'll get some credit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, those are all my questions for right now, but I don't know how I missed that whole Head Start piece, but I think that's really an interesting component to the whole project and, just brings more people to the area.
Certainly.
Yep. Absolutely. Good questions.
On timing, walk us through what the next milestones are.
Yeah, good question. So the applications are due here in the next couple of weeks, that's February 22nd. And then it goes into the state's hands to do the scoring and the review and then ultimate approvals. We're expecting late spring to hear back if we get preliminary approval from the state and at what level for that. Then once we get that, we have about 12 months to then submit a final application to the state to formalize the allocation with that. So we're hoping that in May, June time that we would be able to know if we can submit a final application, and we're doing everything we can on our end to be able to turn around a final as quick as possible so that the plan is to to be in the ground late summer to get this going, with the ultimate goal of having first puck drop in the fall of 22.
Well, that's great. Get that. I would just say, yeah, I would echo Bridget's comments on all the heavy lift that this has been by city staff and Urbandale and Des Moines. If there's anything we can do on council, you know, a letter writing campaign or something like that, and help and advocacy for the project, let us know. I mean, I'd be happy to do what I can do to help advocate on behalf of the project. And in addition to everything that you've already done.
Yeah, Curtis and I have already started a list on that topic exactly.
We will certainly get to that point, that's for sure. All right. Any further discussion? This is exciting. It's good. You know, we know we have some challenges, but we're gonna work through them, and I think we're gonna be able to have a great project for both Des Moines and Urbandale. So, with that, I'll ask for a motion in a second on the application.
A motion by Poggi. Second by Obrecht.
Okay, discussion, please vote. Okay, that passes. Aaron, thank you, and Curtis, thank you, and we'll keep moving forward.
Yep, thank you.
All right, item 8.4 is to discuss the equipment purchase for the Department of Engineering and Public Works side loading solid waste vehicles. And Tim Stovey, our Assistant Director for Public Works, should be on. Tim, did you have anything you want to add to this?
I did not. Thank you. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions for Tim? If not, I'll ask for a motion in a second.
I have a motion by Obrecht. Second by Poggi to approve.
Okay, discussion, please vote. All right, that passes. Item 8.5 is to consider the equipment purchase for Department of Engineering and Public Works track loader.
A motion by Caduce. Second by Poggi.
Okay, discussion, please vote. All right, that passes. Item 8.6 is to consider the 20E agreement for the fire and safety training building, and our chief, Jerry Holt, I believe, is on. Chief?
Just a re-up of 28E that we've had for some time. When we built the training center, we did that in conjunction with the city of Windsor Heights paying 10%, the city of Clive paying 30%, and the city of Urbandale paying 60%. In 2019, all the language that would allow for people to recover some of their costs for building the training center expired. So what this does is cleans up that language and continues the 2080 agreement between the three cities to conduct and joint training at the training center. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Right,
Chief Dave Russell, are there any repairs or maintenance items, is that shared in the same percentage, 60, 30, and 10 as well?
That is correct. So the other cities that aren't part of the agreement, when they use the tower, they pay for the use of the tower, and we put all that money into an account and collectively do just what you suggested, prorate that per repair, so each city pays a part of that.
Great, that's it's a wonderful facility going through, and I can put my plug in for the Citizens Fire Academy. That was a great experience, and we used that training facility during that class.
Thank you. We do get a lot of use out of it.
The repelling was not the best part, but
Yeah.
I learned to appreciate coming off a building in full fire equipment, that's for sure. All right, ask for a motion and a second on that.
A motion by Russell, second by Caduce.
Okay, discussion, please vote. All right, thank you, that passes. And then item 8.7 is to consider the equipment purchase for the emergency preparedness outdoor warning siren. Chief, anything further to add on that?
Just quickly, this siren will be placed in the area of Alice Road, in the area of the new elementary school out there, and will serve that area. This is approval for $25,728, but we've also applied for a grant which we have received, and we will have to approve that amount to pay it up front, but then the federal government will pay us 75% and the state will pay 10%. So our total cost will only actually end up being 15% of that $25,000.
All right.
I'd be happy to answer any questions. This has been something we've been pursuing for some time. We had it in 2 budgets ago, and they announced the grant program, and we applied for it, and then we put it off another year to see if we could get it. We finally were awarded that this year and hope to have it installed before July 1st.
Perfect.
And Chief, on this one, did you mention that the design is a little different than some of our other sirens?
This is a little different. This will be the first one that will be 100% solar powered. So what most people don't realize is that the outdoor warning sirens don't run off of electricity as in they're hooked to the power grid. The power grid charges the batteries on those things, and then that way if the power is knocked out, they operate off of batteries. They don't operate off directly the electricity. So the battery chargers on this one will be solar powered, and we'll charge the batteries that way, so we won't need a hardwired connection to the power grid. It'll be totally self-sufficient.
All right, with that, ask for a motion in a second.
A motion by Russell, second by Caduce.
Okay, discussion, please vote. All right, thank you, that passes.
Thank you.
That takes us to the end of our regular agenda items. Move the council mayor items. I'll start with Adam Olbrecht tonight. Adam, we'll start with you.
I guess one thing Bob, you and I talked about, and I didn't know if you got into Polk County Public Health, is there any guidance on once certain percent of the population hits vaccine levels that we could think about reopening, or not on their radar yet?
I haven't had that discussion yet, but I intend to have that discussion with Helen Eddy to see what her thoughts are on that. But I think we're still a ways away from where we are, and I think now's not the time to let up either necessarily. So I think we need to.
No, I think the number's somewhere north of 50%, but I just didn't know if that we got there yet. And then the second was, I noticed we started using our logo, and AJ, on the trademark in the logo, did you find anything out there with the non-lawyer and a group of lawyers asking this question?
That we've gotten an answer back on that yet. After that was approved at your last council meeting, I did share that with the staff that we wanted to pursue having that trademark registered. So I will get an answer for you on that.
Okay, thanks. That's it for me.
All right, thanks, Adam. Bridget?
For once, I have absolutely nothing to say. Stay warm.
All right, absolutely. Nothing from DART? No updates from DART?
No, we're just moving on with the process, same as we are. Like I said, we're looking at a 3-cent reduction for this year for Urbandale, so
right.
That'll be a nice addition to our 5 cents to get 8 cents. So that's it.
All right. Good. Ron?
Well, quick things. One is we have a long agenda tonight with a lot of different topics covered, and it makes me appreciate the staff who put all this together. And now that we have spent an hour and a half deciding, they get to go out and carry it all out. So thanks to the staff. I think they do a great job. The other thing is that I am now the chair of the Metro Waste Authority, which brings up two things. One is our recycling center out at Grimes is now coming above ground. So if you're driving on 141, that's the big building you'll see on the north side of the road. And it's projected to be done and operational by late fall. So it's coming along. The other thing is that now that I'm chair and have a lot of authority, anybody wants a tour of the landfill, let me know, and I'll send you out in a bus and drive around the face of the landfill. So that's all I have.
All right, great. Thanks,
Hey, Ron, when last spring they did a drive-through of the dump for socially distanced. It was really cool, and they had audio that you could call in and get descriptions, and I would, for young and old, it was very entertaining and educational. And I would highly suggest you guys schedule another one. I know it was probably a big work effort on a Saturday, but it was well worth the time to drive out there.
The only complaint,
and everybody I know that went thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, the only complaints we received were complaints about the traffic backed up on the highway going by, people waiting to get in. But it was run very well, and kudos to the executive director, who's Michael McCoy, who also serves on the Clyde City Council. But he's just done a marvelous job at that agency in the last, I think, five years since he's been on. So that was his brainchild, and it came off, and I think they are going to schedule another one. So
good. Thank you, Ron. Adam?
Our leadership class a few years ago went through the waste facility there, and I'd echo Bridget's comments. It's worth a tour. It has to work so that the rest of us can make the world go around too. So it's a vital part. So it's kind of fun, but appreciate the invite. Just check availability on that. So, but just a shout out to the police and fire. This week I was driving around and I saw a number of folks whose cars were not on the streets anymore and were in the snowbanks, and I saw a lot of law enforcement out when it was really cold, directing traffic and helping make sure that people got cars out of ditches and nobody else caused any further accidents. So to both the police chief and the fire chief, thanks to those folks out on a very cold day, keeping everybody safe and on the roads.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adam. David?
This morning, the mayor and I, we attended the monthly MAC meeting, and we were reminded that we're not safe because the legislature is in session, and we reviewed a number of bills that are pending that will affect city government, and so they're keeping a very watchful eye on those on our behalf. We had a good update from Elizabeth Buck, who with the United Way campaign, and it was really informative to find out the different programs and the different organizations that United Way reaches out to, especially now during this period of time. So it was informative, and keep an eye out for legislative changes that are coming down the pike.
Absolutely, and this year we need to be very vigilant. Go ahead, Bridget, sorry.
And Bob, is there something you can send us with with those legislation that MAC is keeping an eye on?
Yes, Tom Cope. Yep, absolutely. Yep. Tom Cope sent that out.
I had that email. I could probably just send it to you, Bridget, now. So it was a list of all the
okay.
A summary.
Dave, are you gonna just send that out to everybody? Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can find it here.
Yeah, just send it out to everybody. Yeah.
Great.
And are we just utilizing the Iowa League of Cities as our advocacy lobbyist? Or do we need, I'm mostly following the education stuff as a parent right now, but there's some crazy stuff coming out, and I don't know if there's anything we need to do, and I really want to make sure, as the lone representative of Dallas County, that we are including Jake Chapman and Carter Nordman in any specific efforts that Urbandale is participating in.
We're working with both the League of Cities and with MAC. I mean, the MAC's been a great resource to address metro issues, particularly. Tom Cope does a good job of, as David said, of identifying items that are impacting cities, and particularly the metro cities. And so there's quite an extensive list, as you'll see when Dave passes that. So and we can stay on top of it. And I know we've talked about lobbyists at this point in the session. It's especially this year, you know, the lobbyists are somewhat straddled too. But I think certainly between the league and watch the league updates, and AJ sends those out as well. Watch the league updates and also the forward of what we get from Tom from a MAC standpoint, and keep abreast on that. And if we certainly think we need to act quickly and get our voices heard quickly on something, we can get that message out very quickly. So
thank you.
All right. No.
That the league changed its format for getting their legislative material out, so I've been working with them to get that material in a more manageable fashion. I've had some problems, but I also note that, and you probably heard this morning in your meeting, that there is some significant discussion on potential changes in the 411 language, what would affect 49 cities in the state of Iowa that have 411 retirement systems for police and fire. And John Conyer from our staff has done a great job of assessing that from our perspective, and we're working directly with the league, and we'll be sharing that input with them so that they can utilize that in their lobbying efforts on that behalf. The only downside is it only affects 49 cities, so it may not have some of the weight that other items that will be coming up that will be participating in. But we are monitoring that, and we are taking action to support the league and their efforts as well with background material that affects our city particularly.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I have one item tonight that I'd like to note, and this is an email that I received just this afternoon before the council meeting started. I'd just like to read this. Nicole Lenders, CMC of the City of Urbandale, has earned the designation of Certified Municipal Clerk, which was awarded by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. IIMC grants the CMC designation only to those municipal clerks who complete demanding education requirements and who have a record of significant contributions to their local government, their community, and their state. In light of the speed and drastic nature of these days, lifelong learning is not only desirable, it's necessary for all local government to keep pace with the growing demands and the changing needs of the citizens we serve. Your city can take immense pride in Nicole's educational accomplishments and achievement of this milestone. On behalf of the IIMC Board of Directors, I'm honored to endorse the conferring of CMC to Nicole Lenders of the City of Urbandale. We share your pride in this achievement, and we applaud your support of the role Nicole plays in your city. So, Nicole, congratulations. So, well done. Now, if you could just figure out how to get that vote thing figured out so we don't have to move the no's to yes. That's
That'll be on my technology certificate, right?
Yeah, right. Well, congratulations. That was
Thank you.
very nice to see right at the end of the day. So I wanted to make sure we read that. All right, we have two closed session items. I'll ask for a motion and a second to enter into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 20.17 sub 3.
Have a motion by Caduce and a second by Poggi.
Please vote. Okay, thank you. That passes. Now, the separate links are for the council.
We'll be doing this by the breakout rooms, so you'll just stay
Okay,
on the
you're gonna-
same meeting.
All right.
Give
So the
me,
council, if you stay here, we're going to break out. So to the public that's with us tonight, we are going to be entering into a closed session at this point. So.
bear with me, it may take me just a minute here to get everyone assigned.
All right.
Jan, do you need to be moved to the closed session as well?
Yes, please. Aaron, what is this closed session about?
This one is about, I think John Kay is leading this one, maybe.
I can't remember if I needed to be in there or not. I don't.
I'm going to guess no, but.
I would say then I'm just going to say good night to everybody.
I do. Yeah, great job, team. Good night, everybody.
AJ, did you get my text or see it?
A text message? No, let me grab my phone.
Well, I just need to talk to you before you leave after the meeting
Okay?
about an issue. I know you want to get home, but it's pressing-ish.
All right.
Yeah, I think everyone is back.
I'm muted, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Motion to second to adjourn. Okay.
Second.
Motion. Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are
I will
adjourned.
call
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll call you.
Thanks for using WebEx. Visit our website at www.webex.com.